Round 6 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup. We're in Altenberg in the Saxony Mountains in Saxony, Germany. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one of the toughest tracks on the planet. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me, John Morgan, on a drizzly evening as we get ready for the second and deciding heat here in Altenberg. And John, it could be an entertaining second run.
A couple local guys on top of the podium. There's Nico Walter, Christian Posner. Well, Posner's wife, Jamie Grubel-Posner of the United States, just won a silver medal in the race a few hours ago. And Nico Walter, not far from here, big, huge fan base on hand. And the guy who won the opening race in Lake Placid on his home track puts himself in a position to get another medal. Chasing down Francisco Friedrich, Martin Grothkopf, they tied the start record. The start record is 15 years old. But Friedrich had some problems on the bottom part of the track, especially down in 13-14, and he lost the lead, which he had all the way down to the last part of the track, to this guy, Justin Crips, Alex Kopeck. It's Crips' birthday. Him and Kopeck also tied the start record. And Crips, who's the leader in the World Cup, who is really establishing himself as an Olympic gold medal favorite here, he comes down a German track straight as an arrow, has the best time of the heat. Alex Kopeck celebrates his start time record, and what a race we have coming up here in the second run.
Well, if Crips wins, it'll be a 6th different winner from 6 starts this year. Friedrich and Walter have both won two-man races, one apiece, but the medals will be decided between those three unless there's something freaky happening. Behind them, though, look how close some of these gaps are. 4 sleds covered by 0.03 of a second, a tie right behind them, another sled a couple of hundreds back. Fast 20 go through. Simone Battazzo of Italy, Oscars Melbardis don't make it through, nor does Lamindine. Now, did that say disqualified there?
Yes, Lamindine disqualified, overweight.
Okay, well, they didn't make the run anyway, so that just adds insult to injury. It was raining at the start of the first heat, John, then it dried out a little bit. The ice possibly might have softened up before the end, but it's sprinkling with rain again, which is why the refrigeration plant down the hill from us is on 11 on the odometer now. It's
maybe
really
15,
cranked up.
maybe
Yeah.
15.
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's on a 12 plus, and so they're working really hard to keep this track alive. And they need to, because there are such tiny gaps. 0.13 of a second covered the top 3. There are so many tiny gaps up and down the order. This could be a major reshuffle. Fastest 20 sleds from the first heat go into run 2, and that means Jan Verber of the Czech Republic will be first off. Cody Basque next, then Brad Hall, the only one of the British team to make it through into the second heat. And then we run down until we get to our final 3 sleds, which are local heroes, Nico Walter and Francesco Friedrich, and the perhaps surprise first-rank winner, Justin Crips. Although Crips has not been out of the top 4 all year, he's had 3 silver medals in two-man alone, and he is in a rare vein of form. A win here would really put the cat among the German pigeons.
What did you just say?
Second heat, getting ready to go here in Altenberg, Germany. From nearby, just across the border from us, is the Czech Republic. This is Jan Verber with teammate Jakub Havlin, both of them based in the Czech capital, Prague, about an hour's drive away from the track.
He's a better 4-man pilot. In fact, he's had his best finish ever in a World Cup here in Altenberg a few years ago. In a 4-man race, he was 5th. And considering the start deficiency, he had the 19th best start in the first run. He had some pretty good lines coming down the track. But he's only an hour plus away from home in Prague. There's that curve 3. Now watch the track. We'll set it up for you. 3 to 4, almost everybody's going to hit there. If you don't hit, because you try to steer too much, and that is friction and loss of time, so it's better to hit there. Here's the long straightaway into Kreisel. Wow, this thing is treacherous. I mean, a lot of crashes in the women's races. The men seem to have a little bit more control, and we think it's because of the heavier weight.
Apart from Francesco Friedrich, who lies second, who almost crashed.
Right here, right here, you know, right there. Right
it was the wildest escape I think we've seen.
He was green numbers all the way down, and then he lost about 0.10 of the bow.
55.46 slide. He was 55.48 in the first heat when he was 5th man out of the start. He's first down on the ice this time. And as ever, the brakemen only using the brakes after they have crossed the finish line to slow them down.
If you use the brakes on the track itself, you are disqualified.
And rightly so, because you destroy the track for anybody following.
I've seen it done before. If you didn't have TV cameras on, there's certain parts of the track you could do it and you wouldn't know the person's coming behind you would notice it. There's that 3-4 combination. You're going to see a lot of that. Great pictures from our TV crew. You'll see the sled bouncing up in the air. It's just the question is how high you bounce, how much pressure you put on the nose.
Second of our starters, Cody Basque from the USA with Carlo Valdez behind him. 11th fastest start. They started 5:25, but the speed just ebbed out of the sled all the way down the ice. Cody, winner of the second two-man race of the season in Lake Placid.
Carlo Valdez, the UCLA track and field athlete, 4-year veteran of the team. Cody with that 11th place start. You know, you try to say on a foreign track, okay, 11th start, I should finish 11th or 12th or 10th or 9th. But when you go 11th to 18th, something's on, wrong choice of runners. Tap there, let's see how hard he taps here. Front bunk taps, that means the back end's gonna come up in the air a little bit. So he's only 32 start time that time, and the 700's better than Reba. 1500's now 114.8. That's the same speed. Let's see if he can get 100 and high 15 on the exit. 114.8 in, 116.6. So he accelerated on that slingshot that Kreisel provides you if you have a good line. You can see the fog coming in. He's doing the same problem as he had in the first run down on that uphill section. Mistake that erases speed, takes away speed. 55.36. He's 1000ths better. So the coaches, they clap, but they're not real happy with the fact that Cody Basque, who won the race in Lake Placid, the second race there, is way back here in 18th place. Only U.S. sled in the field. Cunningham's back in Lake Placid in the America's Cup, and Olsen is over in the four-man event in Eagles in the Europa Cup.
And that's part of the reason why athletes take a long time to learn this track, is that they kind of avoid it occasionally.
Yeah, and the U.S. team wanted, I think, to protect Justin Olsen. And watch this crack here. Front bunk hits, back bunk hits. Watch the air come up in the back. See? Not too bad. That was not too bad. He held out there, but here, sideways skid in an uphill section of the track. Well, it's a gravity sport. When you're going uphill, the last place you want to be in a skid is right there.
Cody Basque, the leader, 2 sleds down out of the top 20. Third up is Brad Hall of Great Britain with Toby Alubi, 30-year-old teacher from London. Behind his driver, originally from Chichester in West Sussex. Getting stronger and faster, Brad Hall, after severing all the tendons on the back of his hand on the cowl of the sled early last season.
Yeah, it was in Whistler. 5:24, great start. So they 5:22 in the first run, 5:24. The Americans, Basque and Valdez, went 5:25, then 5:32. That's not the consistency that you need to perform at the high level of the World Cup.
Got to apologise to Nick Gleeson in Lamin Dean's team. I said he was in the Royal Marines. He's not. He's a para. So Lee Johnson's phone has been in meltdown. Whether it's paras complaining or Marines or both, I'm not quite sure.
Good lines here, 4/10 lead, 114.8 in. He's probably going to be 116 and change out. 117,
that
better.
Is decent pace.
So that's good driving lines.
And his speed went away in the first run at the bottom.
Well, he skidded there in the first run. Here, he's flying. This is going to be 3/4 better than his first run. The other two teams are within a couple hundreds. And there it is.
Wow.
54.92, 43 hundredths better. The other teams went 100th quicker, 200ths quicker. That says that Brad Hall's mistake on the bottom part of the track in the first run cost him 6 or 8 places.
He's third on the ice. He was 22nd on the ice, and it had been raining for about half an hour at the beginning of the race. I wonder whether the track was just a bit harder at the beginning of this run.
I think the other two teams just came down only a couple hundredths better. He came down 44 hundredths better. Much better lines. Look at this arrow, straight arrow out of the Kreisel. And then in the 11-12 combination, you got to take at least half of that curve, and you don't want the back end of the sled to skid, and he's perfect. And then here, he was sideways in this uphill section of the first run. Here, perfect lines. Great second run from Brad Hall.
Well, that might put him in the leader's box for a couple more sleds. Brad Hall of Great Britain leads, 3 sleds down. Next up, Roman Heinrich of France, the rookie with Lionel Lefebvre behind him. 2 years ago, Heinrich was competing as a brakeman, started driving last year, and has just made his 3rd World Cup start.
Well, give him credit. You know, a lot of doubts when he first arrived in the World Cup Tour. We saw him in Winterberg and Innsbruck, and he said he had a long chance to make an Olympic team. And in fact, now with contenders, they're sort of concentrating on 4-man. This will probably be the French representative in the Olympic Games, and it's only his 2nd year driving. Yeah. He's had 400 trips, he said, in 1 year.
Well, most of them probably down La Plagne, in which case I'm surprised he's got any fillings or eyeballs left.
Yeah.
It's not smooth ice like this is.
La Plagne colors all over the sled, and you could see it in his eyes. He's pretty passionate about the sport. He's young. 1:14.9. Remember, the British went in with the same speed. They came out 1:17 and change. He doesn't come out with that good a speed. He's probably going to fall back more.
There's another BTC Latvia sled. That's the customer sled of choice, and it always does a good job.
Hanging in there now, and it's no problem for him finishing 2nd at least.
Well, he's going to be close, only 1800s behind Brad Hall.
He went 1100s. That was better than the previous 2 sleds, except the 3rd sled, which was Brad Hall, went 4400s better. Brad Hall would have had both runs like that. He'd be up lurking near the top 10.
Well, 54.92, he'd have been 8th in the first heat, exactly. And not 18th. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Well, Roman Heinrich shakes his head, but right now, everything for him is gravy. He's just learning.
Yeah, learning. It's good. Little, watch the sled abruptly change right there.
Whoa.
But there's that flag.
There's Tudor's flag.
You see that flag, and you hit the right steering handle and try and exit out of that terrifying curve.
As soon as you turn into the Kreisel, you're craning your neck right round to look for that flag, because that's what you judge everything else on. Otherwise, it's a whiteout. So Roman Heinrich 2nd, Brad Hall still leads. And next up is Dominik Dvorak. 2 sleds from the Czech Republic made it into the field. Dvorak off a 7th fastest start, 5:22 for this young driver and his brakeman.
100-meter sprinter, and I bet you he's the fastest runner in the field in the front seat. These guys are coming. Dvorak, he's got that look in his eyes. He's young. And, you know, he lives about an hour from here in Prague, and these guys are coming.
He's got kind of 12 months ahead of Heinrich in the cycle, isn't he? You know, and in the next quad, both of those guys, like Brad Hall, are going to be big names to conjure with.
How hard's he going to hit? Not too bad.
Dvorak 800s up. First round advantage over Brad Hall was a 1/10 of a second, so he's hanging on in front.
He had a 6th place finish in the Eagles last year. An easy track to get down, an emphasis on the start. So that tells you this guy's got a great athletic ability. When he gets the eyes and hands straightened out, this is going to be a good pilot.
Speed's close. He's 100th in front, but it wasn't as fast as the British sled. Now what can he do at the bottom?
400s. It's close, but I don't think he's going to catch him.
He doesn't have the speed, I don't think.
He's a mile an hour down to Brad Hall, 2nd, 55.14. He also goes 1100s ahead. Yep. But remember, the British sled, Brad Hall, 4400s better in the 2nd run. No one has done anything like that so far.
Well, Dominik Dvorak slips a spot into 2nd. But it was a pretty decent-looking run. Again, really only in his 2nd season as a World Cup driver.
Okay, a little mistake there and a back-end skid. And this is up 6, 7, 8. The 3-corner combination, a labyrinth. Every track's got to have one. And you want to be smooth up there when you're still hitting your acceleration points. And any type of a skid will knock you off your mark.
Chris Spring lies 2nd in the World Cup standings. He won race number 3 in the 2-man World Cup this season in Whistler, just ahead of Justin Crips. But a loose first run here left him down in 15th place. Now he has a 1200ths of a second advantage over the current leader, Brad Hall.
And the Canadians keep shuffling their brakemen around. Jesse Lumsden was with Crips. And here comes the Springer, who had a horrific accident here in 2011 that hospitalized him and showed up at the World Championships a month later in a cane and has come back with vengeance. Here he is, 2nd in World Cup points in 2-man. And as you said, he had a loose first heat.
Well, 2600s up at the start. It's down to 2200s. They outstarted the Brits by 400ths of a second.
These are good lines, but the 114 speed is way off the mark. This might be a runner issue for Chris Spring. 116 and change at least, 116.4, but the British were 117.8 down there. So he's a full mile an hour plus down. Green numbers down to 700s. This is going to go right to the 100 either way.
Brits had 125. This is going to be very, very close. Could even be a tie at the line. 500s in front.
It's okay, Brad Hall. Good performance there.
Yeah, Brad Hall picks up at least a couple of spots.
And Springer goes 400s better. Remember, Brad Hall went 4,400s better. That's a really good strategy to go that much faster in the second run.
And don't forget that Spring was 200ths of a second behind a dead heat right in front of him. So it was 3 sleds covered by 300s. Brad Hall may not yet be finished moving up the order.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of shuffling in the middle order of this pack.
Watch the replays here. This is 11-12 combination on the exit of Kreisel. You got to take half of that curve. I think he's a little late here. Let's watch the sled. Does it get into a skid into third? No, he looked pretty good, but he lost speed. He didn't have any great speed into Kreisel.
Next up for Poland is Mateusz Luty. The race is being led by Canada's Chris Spring, who lies second in the World Cup standings. Mateusz Luty with Krzysztof Tolkowski behind him. 100-meter record holder in Poland as the brakeman. And Luty had a really smooth-looking first run.
He's a great driver. 5:29 start, 15th best. People are getting a little slower, so this should be in the 30s. 35, 600 slower. That is not what he wants. Speed off the pace. So he's needs a perfect run. How hard is he going to hit out of 3? Not bad. That was pretty clean.
Yeah. Whiskered away from the wall. 1700s behind, though. This is good news for Brad Hall and Chris Spring.
Yeah, but this Luty, who's got better results in the four-man. Look at these lines. 115.1 speed. Anything like 117 and change speed will give him a chance to overcome this deficiency. And he's in the green. 117.3.
Yeah.
He's got good lines. And the bottom part of this track rewards you with good lines. Right here. That's perfect. Down to 1000s though.
Fastest we've seen so far.
Nobody.
So he will extend the lead in the final corner. 1500s.
54.96. He goes 1500s better. The Polish like that result right there.
Yeah.
He can drive. He gets a better start. I mean, he's dealing with the 35 start. Spring started 20. 1500s better. Only beat him by 15 at the bottom over 2 runs.
Yeah.
So Mateusz Luty continues to improve for the Polish program.
Yeah, the return of Krzysztof Tolkowski on the back of the sled definitely helping at the start. They could do with a little more speed. I'm sure that'll be very much his focus during the summer.
Look at this crowd. Very educated sliding sports crowd. And next up is one of their favorites.
Well, Mateusz Luty was tied with Johannes Lochner after the first heat. And Hansi with Joshua Bloom back behind him in the 2-man sled.
These two are probably the biggest disappointment of the first run.
Well, not if you're Chris Spring. It was even more disappointing to be him.
Yeah, but Lochner on a German track.
Well, he was only 11th in last year's race. He was tied for 13th in the first heat, so it's clearly not a track that he's yet got a real good handle on. And he is a Bavarian as well, so the crowd will be rooting for their homeboys, Walter and Friedrich.
17 starts, so they're the only team that went faster in the second run than the first at the start, but he skidded out of the curve 1. These are 2 very formidable athletes. How hard is he going to hit? Not. Maybe he steered too much. 2400s. That should go out to 30. If he doesn't go out to 30 here, that means he steered too much to get out of curve 3.
Don't forget, he was tied with current leader Mateusz Luty after the first heat.
There it is. Anybody that doesn't hit there, to me, loses speed and time.
Needs 117 high. Gets 116 high. He's going down.
Perfect lines here will give him a chance to win by single digits. If not, 12, 124.4.
Too slow.
Not the speed of Luty, but I think it's going to be enough. He's going to hang in there by a couple hundreds.
700ths of a second.
Look at the coaches are.
That's a ripple of applause.
Yes, that's just what is he doing back here in this part of the field?
And he will be thinking exactly the same.
He's a four-man leader in the World Cup points. He's won 3 times in 6 chances this year. So we'll see a little bit more success out of him tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll definitely be in the frame for the medals.
The start, 17. I'm surprised these guys aren't even down there near the record where the top starters are, because these are 2 formidable athletes. Look at Joshua Bloom. The arms should be coming up together. Surprised at that. One after the other. Then this wasn't perfect, wasn't bad, but a couple hits there in the uphill section. Definitely worth some time. He is a character, though.
Yeah. Hansi Lochner leads. Next up, Benny Meyer. And Benny Meyer in a 4-way tussle covered by 300ths of a second with the next 3 sleds, which are all Russian. And in fact, 500ths faster than Benny Meyer would take you up into the fringes of the top half dozen. So this is a very, very tight group of sleds for the Austrian. He needs a good second run.
This sled won the World Championships last year. It was driven by Francisco Friedrich. Benny Meyer, who's won some medals on his own with his own piece of equipment last year, upgraded to this. Sometimes I think Friedrich wishes he had that sled back, because he's only got 1 gold medal so far this year, and he's in 2nd place behind the birthday boy Justin Crips.
Best result of the season for Benny so far, 7th in Winterberg in the 2-man. Other than that, it's been in the teens.
Not good. 114.2. So if he gets to 116 middle, he'll be lucky because of that mistake. 116.3. That's expected. That skid into 9, altered his speed and his time here at the bottom. Those are good lines. He's in a dead heat. 122.9. He could
nothing
fall a
like
couple
close
places.
enough. Yeah, Maciej Luty's only 700ths back. He'll be 3rd at the line.
5th best time of the run. So he falls behind Luty. Look at the Manfred mare. Franz Joseph Hoffman on the left. Look at that. That's some of the lowest speed we've seen of any sled into the finishing straights.
76.4 miles an hour. Isn't exactly slow, but it's significantly slower.
And he went 1,300 slower than his first run.
Yeah.
Everybody else is going faster. This is up in the above this curve 9, so he was late into 9, and then on the exit of 9, this is where the problem started, and no speed at that part of the track. Down here, these are good lines, but there's no accelerator in there. You can put your foot in the gas to try and pick back up what you lost.
And there's Marcus Sammer, the brakeman on the right. Expect to see a lot more driving from him after Pyeongchang. As we head towards the top 10, 100th faster than Benny Meyer was Ugis Zalems of Latvia, with Jānis Janssens, his brakeman. And only he and Oskars Kiebermanis, last year's bronze medalist, made it through. Oskars Melbardis with a thigh injury had to sit in the sled. May have to do the same tomorrow as well.
Oh, he picked the sled up.
Same as in the first heat.
Jānis, he's a little bit of inexperienced, tremendous athlete. Look at him hop in the sled and get his arms over the top and down. 5:30 start. That is a deficient start time.
5:24 in the first heat. That's 600 slower than their own best start.
Lochner went 300s better, 5:20 to 5:17, and that's a hard hit there. So we're going to see that pictures again. I bet you'll see the brakeman pop right up out of the seat. 600s.
Now he's going to sink like a stone now, because
should have been down more than that.
Latvian sleds didn't have huge speed in the bottom corners.
114.2. So the only chance he's got is high 116 speed here in the exit.
He could be 3/10 behind by the line.
116.9. That's great speed. He could find that line down there. We've seen speed on the bottom part of this track, but good lines, that's pretty good. 124.1 is not the speed that he needs. He needed 125, which is 77.1 miles an hour. 8th best time of the run. The Germans live another day, another sled.
And he drops behind Maciej Luty and Benny Meyer, and he's tied with Chris Spring.
How about Luty's run?
Well, Luty is going to be top 12, no worse.
He finished 15th and 22nd so far in the first 2 races of the year in Innsbruck and Winterberg for him. So that's a great result for Poland. Look at the start here, and then this crush. This might be the hardest hit we've seen in the race yet. Let's watch the back end. How high? Look at that. That is airtime. I told you the brakeman to come up out of that seat. And this isn't a sport where the energy wants to go up. It wants to go out. And that definitely cost him a lot of time.
Could almost hear the brakeman's fillings being rattled loose there, couldn't you? Really, that was a big old hit. So 10 down, 10 to go. Luty and Lochner leads for Germany, and we still have 2 German sleds in the top 3 remaining as we get into the second and deciding group of sleds. Well, the fans are here, as you can see, for Bob Team Friedrich and Bob Team Walter. Francesco Friedrich, the 4-time world champion. And there's our 4-man world champion, tied with Friedrich last year, Luty and Lochner on the right.
And they finished second in the World Championships in 2015 in their debut. How many times junior world champion? At least twice, right? And he's still a junior.
And Joshua Bloom didn't come to North America. He was making sure that he was fit for the European run into the games in Pyeongchang. You've seen all the crowd down at the finish area, lots at the start, and look all the way down the track as well.
This is curve 9, a lot of action out of curve 9.
Yeah.
My first time here in 1987, 30 years ago, December. They had the Aero Cup, it wasn't a World Cup, it was just a race. And there was 20,000 people here. It was unbelievable that, you know, this East German sports military facility, nobody had seen it. And a little bit of a culture shock for all of the Westerners coming into the behind the Iron Curtain then. But
do you know what? And probably for the Easterners as well, to have Western teams arriving.
Yeah, there was a lot of strange things going on.
Yeah, they probably hadn't seen any of these people other than on television. Certainly hadn't seen them in the flesh.
Times have changed.
Yes, they have. Well, what has remained the same is that Germany is still a major force in bobsledding.
Combining the West and the East.
Yeah.
But there still is not a lot of love lost between the Saxons and the Bavarians.
Well, they're fiercely proud, aren't they, of their own regional heritage.
You got the Bavarians in the leaders box. You got the 2 Saxon teams coming up.
It's like the Scots and the Welsh. It's like the Yankees and the South, you know?
Yeah, there's some New England and Southerners.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Little provisional.
Yeah. Kevin Kuska down there, hanging out, waiting for the 4-man race to start tomorrow lunchtime. And there are your leaders, grinning it up. Altenberg in Saxony. We are in the toughest track for drivers on the European continent. 10 down, 10 to go. Luty and Lochner leads for Germany. Next up, the first of 3 Russian sleds covered by 0.02 of a second. It's Alexei Stulnev.
The Russians have the 17th, 18th, and 19th best start times. Or the 18th, 19th, and 21st. Kazanov coming up next is 21st best start. And I just don't understand. The Russians never had these type of starts. They always were in the middle of the pack, not the end of the pack.
Except in the beginning of Zubkov's career, it was always about the start, and being the fastest meant that you had a chance then to get down and hit a few things and still have a shot.
The Russians had good success in this track, 2000 to 2010. Evgeny Popov, Zubkov. These guys, you know, Stulnev had good results last year. He just hasn't got anywhere near it this year. 1200s back. Speed, excellent speed though. 117.9. The fog coming in there in the exit of 14, 125.6. These are the best speeds. This could be green numbers here to the 100th.
How close will he be at the line? 200s in front.
Speed, you can see it. On this track, unlike so many others, you lose the speed, you can't gain it back. On the track here at Altenberg, you can get rewarded with great lines in the bottom. He shows if he had a start time, he'd be right in the hunt, like he had last year. But gee, you can't give up that much time. On a track like Innsbruck, you have no chance. Here, you can drive your way into the leader's box.
Well, Stulnev finished last season 6th in the overall World Cup standings in 2-man. This year, he's 15th.
Yeah, different guy.
That's not the progress you want running into the games, is it?
But the lines out of 3-4, the lines in Kreisel, and here, this is where he started to motor. Best speeds on the exit of Kreisel and into the finish. Alexei, if you had a start time, you'd be challenging for a medal.
If he had wings, he'd be a bird. Alexei Stulnev, the leader. He had 100th of a second deficit to teammate Alexander Kasyanov after the first heat. Kasyanov currently lying 11th in the 2-man standings. Finished the season last year
5:37. He's got to go better. He can't get worse here at the 5:37 start. 21st best start in the field. 5:36. Okay, he got 100th better, but still, He's got to hit a grand slam here to be ahead of his teammates at the bottom, or Lochner.
Yeah. And the problem is, there's only 200s between Stulnev and Lochner. He's going to beat them both or lose to them both.
They're going to get the 4th best start, 5th best time. But now, there's still green numbers, means that start deficiency's holding on. He's going to pull away. Watch this, 115.4. He might get to 118 speed here in the bottom with his eyes and hands.
Stulnev has the top speed.
Not as good as his teammate there. His teammate was better, high 117. So now, ooh, it's going to the 100. He doesn't have the same speed. He could win
125? What's going on?
It could be 100, 200s.
Oh, no. Loses to his teammate.
And he loses 2 spots.
Yeah.
Well, you know, his teammate had 125.6. We should have trusted the speed there.
Yeah.
And he had 124.2.
Yeah.
Which is kilometers, which is, you know, 77.2 to 78.1.
And it's not a short final corner like Winterberg here. It's a long final corner here like Lake Placid.
Pressure, but surprised at that. He didn't have the speed in the exit of Kreisel that I thought he would.
Well, look, top 3 now covered by 400s.
Yeah, look at the lines. Gets up, probably look at the watch for the flag. Watch the flag here at the end. There's that flag. When you see that flag, get out.
Yeah.
That's what they tell everybody. A little easier said than done.
Well, we're sitting stationary. We're not doing 65 miles an hour looking for it. So Stulnev leads. Kazyanov, yeah, whatever.
Lochner moves up another spot, though.
Kazyanov, look at the face on him.
Yeah.
And that's because not only is Kazyanov nominally the #1 Russian behind Stulnev now, but they were both behind the #3 guy, and by some margin way out the back, the #3 last year, Maxim Andrionov. And Andrionov is suddenly, I mean, he was 20th in the end of last year's World Cup in 2-man. He's 19th in the points now.
His best finish of the year, 17th. So he's in uncharted territory. With a 5:35 start.
It's the least slow of the three, which is all you can say about it.
Well, the question is, I'd say hit the wall here. It seems like hitting the wall gives you a better time. Light hit.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
Little double tap, carry the speed, 1100s up, 600s when he's sat down, so he's pulling away from Stulnev.
If he should get to 12 or 13 here, if he's on a good line.
Good line, good exit, but 114.
He's off the pace. Now remember, Stulnev had 117.7. 17.1. He's half a kilometer down. It's a third of a mile an hour. And, you know, there is opportunity here in the bottom, but he's been losing it all the way back. 124.5 is the same speed that Kazanov, the Russian 2 guy, had.
Down to 6th on the split times, and 6th at the line behind Benny Meyer.
So this is Stulnev's best finish of the season. He finished 4th a couple times last year, had nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And with the start time deficiencies these Russians have.
Stulnev's best this year, 9th. So he's now in the lead with 7 to go. I mean, it's not a flag day, is it?
Well, you don't have a start time. It doesn't matter what type of rocket you have underneath you. It doesn't matter. Watch here, how much of this brakeman pop up here. You know, that's full air, but the brakeman stayed pretty good in place. Wasn't a bad change of direction there. That didn't cost him. But here he just didn't have the speed of Stulnev, which is, look for the flag. Well, the flag lets you to get out.
Yeah.
If you don't get out, you're going to get out in your head.
Well, Stulnev leads, Kazyanov 3rd, Andrionov 6th. Switzerland's Rico Peter, 7th fastest after the first heat here in Altenberg, round 6 of the BMW IBSF 2-man bobsleigh World Cup. Martin Haven and alongside me, John Morgan, trackside, watching the action with thousands of fervent Saxon fans. Rico Peter.
5th, 7th, and 5th in the first 3 races of the year. Comes back to Europe, and he's in double digits for skid. That's history. 5:24. Watch the speed in the left, 49.7. That's not the best speed. That was spring.
Meandering down the straight into corner 3 as well.
Now
out of Omega.
Not too bad there. If he keeps it, he's still got 1/4 of a second lead though.
Well, last year he got so much speed by having a really loose sled that just skated around but flew over the ice.
1:14.5. If he gets 1:16 middle, he'll have a chance.
Needs 1:15 going in.
1:16.8.
Nearly 1:17. That is good.
But it's down to 8. Remember, the Russian had 117 and change there. Didn't have a skid here. 124.2. That's not the speed the Russian have. This is going to be red numbers. Stolnev's going to get somebody else.
Wow. Stolnev, no worse than 7th.
Look at this. The top 5 people are separated by 900ths. The top 6 people by 11. So Stolnev is moving up the leaderboard, the reckless driver.
Stolnev didn't even go as fast in the second heat as he did in the first, though. He went slower, and yet he's still got a slender lead.
Look at. He's not very happy. 2018's not looking any good compared to his 2017. Last year was pretty good. Here, skid. Look at this, hugging the wall, and you can see the little spray come off there.
Well, Rico started last year with a silver medal. After that, only 2 other top 10 finishes in two-man. Year before, two-man, he was on fire. Well, here is the
biggest surprise of the day.
Yeah, and what a great opportunity for Austria's youngster, Markus Treichel, with Ekimeni Bassi, his brakeman. They started with a 5:27, 14th fastest. Yes, our leader, Alexei Stolnev, with Ilya Malik, the tall figure beside him.
17th, last time out in his home track in Eagles, his best finish ever.
Only 900ths of a second the advantage over Stolnev, and that is one tiny error.
I really think he went early.
Yeah.
He went when all of a sudden we noticed some rain.
He was the
and
first
rain
man.
Sometimes creates, puts a little film on top of the track that reduces friction, because he's up in uncharted territory. And, you know, give him credit. I mean, he's going to post his best finish ever. And if he comes down here as the leader, it might as well be a gold medal for his efforts.
For him, absolutely. Look at that. Good lines as well.
Here's what we expected. Look at the speed.
Kilometre an hour down on
The lowest speed
Stolnev.
we've seen so far.
Yeah.
But still, you know, we're rooting for him. Just get in the top 12 or 14 would be a great result.
Well, to be in 6th position after the first heat, he'll be disappointed not to hold on, but if you handed him a top 12 after the first run, he'd have been very pleased with that. But he is going to plummet down the order. 15th fastest run.
Boy, he falls all the way.
So he's ahead of Cody Bascu, Jan Verber, but behind Roman Heinrich.
This is an outdoor sport. And that shows you how much Mother Nature can play with the competition. There was a little vortex, a little window there where that rain came in. He was the first guy to get that film, reduces friction across the track. He was in uncharted territory.
And of course, he was the first starter, so it'd been 2 hours of ice prep.
He got the first fresh ice. And these weren't bad lines, driving a brand new sled. These are very good lines. This is a very inexperienced pilot, but
that's the other thing, you know, consistency that comes with experience, isn't it, right?
Hey, still.
Yeah.
So he'll remember, I was running with the big dogs.
Top 6, he was in front of most of the big dogs. 15 down, 5 to go. Race leader is Alexei Stolnev. And now in the top 5, Nick Polignato with Neville Wright. 3rd fastest start in the field for this duo. And that alone is worth waving a flag about if you're a Canadian bobsled fan.
5:15 in the first run with the beast from Toronto on the back, Neville Wright. Bishop's University football player Nick Polignato on the front, 5:16. They accomplished their task, 50.4, excellent speed, the best speed so far by a tenth of a mile an hour over his teammate Chris Spring.
In Lake Placid, 13th and 12th in a two-man. Since there, 7th, 5th, and bronze in Innsbruck. That's been his results.
Now he should get this out to double digits. He's way out. I mean, but he's not worried about the guys behind him. He's worried about putting some pressure on, have a chance to win a medal.
He wants a medal. Absolutely, he wants a medal. Now, whether he can vault the 2/10 into the podium spots or not remains to be seen, but this is a really good run from Nick Polignato.
Losing time back, only 1:23.4. This is going to be in the 20s, probably low 20s, high teens.
Quarter 1800s.
That's still 54.98, so then he goes 54.82, 1600.
Top 5 runs, 2nd, 3rd top 5 of the season.
Yeah, so Neville Wright cheering as he should.
Yeah.
Nick Polignato, boy, has he been coming on since last year. Don't think he knows his potential yet, but he's starting to figure it out.
I think he does. And in the World Cup standings, the 3 Canadians are in the top 5.
So watch the back end here. Now watch him glide into the curve. Does he have to steer a lot? No, not bad. You know, everybody's going to hit there. And then now you have to drive through the fog. He's got a little skid in there.
Remember, we first met him in Calgary 3 years ago. He's one of the brakemen on Kaylee Humphrey's 4-man sled. That's when we first met up with him. And now here he is, driving himself into podium spots in the World Cup. Okay, Nick Polignato leads, 4 to go. Latvia's Oskars Kybamanis and Matis Miknis, bronze medalists 12 months ago. They lie in 4th place after the first heat. Martin Haven and John Morgan with the action from Altenberg in Germany.
15 start, 13 start, 100th off the track record for these decathletes from Latvia, these young decathletes. And let's see how hard he hits out of the curve to set himself up, and pretty quiet. Now, with that start, he's only 400ths ahead. That's not good. If I'm the Canadians at the bottom, I'm liking that. He should have been farther out than that with that start advantage. And it's down to 2, 1:14.4. He gets out of here, 1:16. Now, Polignato didn't have good speed in the bottom. 1:16 and change, 1:16.2. 300, so he got one maybe too close to call.
One tiny skid that we won't even see with the naked eye.
Perfect line, he's got better speed.
1:24.
He's gonna be the leader. Perfect lines in the bottom, better speed than Polignato, and he pulls away.
Bronze medalist last year, can he take another one this year?
Pulled away by 600.
Yeah. Well, you know.
300s, he beat him 300s at the start, 6 at the bottom, total over 2 heats. So Polignato beat him driving down the track.
Yeah.
But this young Latvian, who medaled in both the 2 and the 4 last year in Pyeongchang, the only person to do that. He was on the streets of Latvia 4 years ago, and they pulled him off the streets and turned him into a bobsled driver. And watch out. Up top, 8-9. This sets you up for this straightaway. A little late out of 9, a drift. He doesn't try and steer away from the ball or the wall, and if he did hit, it was minute.
So Kybamanis leads, but it is a big step up to the podium. 3 to go in Altenberg. 2 drivers from Saxony. Nico Walter, winner of the season opener in 2-man in Lake Placid. Since then, 9, 7, 9, and 12 are his results. This is his home track. He and Christian Poser need this medal.
Well, 5:26 in the first heat, the worst start of the top 7 teams, and he's going to need to do 23 or 24. 27, worse. Well, Jamie Grubel-Poser, Christian Poser's wife from the United States, won a silver medal earlier today in the women's competition, and let's see if her husband can also get on the podium. He's going to need some fine lines from Nico Walter, though.
Nice little nick from 5. From 4 to 5, he's still 300s behind, though.
That's the start, though. It's not bad. If he gets this to 6 or 7 red, he's got a chance.
Now, these FES sleds have been flying.
Speed,
look at the speed.
1:15.4, so he could get this up to 1:17 and change.
1:17.8,
one of the better
speed.
speeds. So this is Nico Walter on his home track, the former luger.
Little adjustment.
1:25.4, huge, but he was late there in 15.
He's got it. He has the lead. He's in the medals.
54.86.
Wow.
So Leo Lopo from the right, he's coached 25 years of East Germans to West Germans to the German team. Rennie Spies, the coach on the left. They like that because that's a deficient start time.
2,400 slower than the first heat. Now, don't forget, he came 7th down the track in the first heat. He's 18th down the track in the second heat, but still
speed
in the medals.
Yeah, with that start deficiency, if you give him that great start, he's going to motor away from everybody. But he can drive.
There's Hannes Lochner offering his congrats.
And look at him trying to look at the runners.
Yep.
He's just barely feathering those runners to keep that off the wall. And obviously, Great lines, great results, and Christian Posner wins a medal just like his wife did earlier today.
Now, will he match the family silverware with a silver stone? For the first time this year, the FES logo on a two-man sled driven by Francesco Friedrich, our four-time world champion.
Watch out here, they could go for the start record. It's a 5:12. They matched it in the first run.
Is the start area fast enough for a new
16,
record? It's
no.
not.
Ooh, that's surprised.
It's warm, it's been raining. I think possibly the start area is just a bit soft.
Ooh.
1800s up, he was 900s ahead, 700s rather, from the first heat.
He was flying on top of the track. He's got up to 3/10, but he almost crashed down at 13-14 in the first run. The only sled really we saw with a
what's he doing? Pinballing down the track.
115.3 though is good, so he should come out of here 117 low.
Well, normally we'd say this isn't about beating Nico Walter, this is about chasing Justin
much
Crips.
better,
Actually,
much better through here.
For him, this is about beating Nico Walter.
124.5, not the speed Walter had. This is the leader. Whether or not he's going to win a silver or gold, we got to wait. 54.75, 20 slower. The Germans can take a deep breath and celebrate because they're four-time world champion, the youngest guy ever to win a world championship, and now he's won 4 in a row. He almost crashed in the first run.
Yeah, and that near crash cost him the lead by a couple of hundreds, 600ths of a second. He didn't repeat that error this time, so Crips has to find something extra special to stay in front. These are the winners from last year. Francesco Friedrich and brakeman Martin Grotkopp.
This wasn't perfect. Hits twice.
Yeah.
He didn't have the 116 and change speed that his teammate had, and this was also not perfect. And again, he was a kilometer down, half a mile an hour down, but Francisco can go to the leader's box with a silver, and never
at least a silver.
First or second in all 8 events last year.
It ain't over till it's over. Justin Crips, 3 silver medals and 2 fourth-place finishes. He and his brakeman Alex Kopax, joint fastest starters, like Friedrich and Grotkopp, tied the 14-year-old start record.
Happy birthday, Justin.
Let's see if he can give himself a gold birthday present.
Kopak really been coming off injury last year, joined the team second half of the season, and he continues to improve.
5:11!
That's what the Germans couldn't do.
A start record that was set in December 2003 is finally felled.
Friedrich went 400 slower. The Canadians got 100 better with a start record. Hit hard, but he's going to have probably out to, it's only 400s though. He should be way ahead with that advantage.
Don't forget, Friedrich had a couple of mistakes lower down. Here, he pinballed from wall to wall. Crips is close.
Yeah, Crips should only got 114.9. Going to need 117 speed.
Is he going to be close?
He's got that speed though. Here he comes. He's got the speed now.
We might have a dead heat.
No.
We had one in 2012-13.
He's going to win on his birthday. Never seen anybody win on their birthday.
At the line by 900s, Justin Crips wins.
The start. He wanted it to start. The Germans dominate on their tracks with starts. Not today. Fireworks.
Birthday fireworks go off. Celebration, gold medal. Listen to Alex Kopax. A start record that you take off Andre Langer and Kevin Kuska. That's a record worth having.
What a memory for the international man of mystery. The guy that owns 3 passports. American, Canadian, and Australian.
Listen, he got 3 nearly medals already this season. Now he's got the gold. I'm getting down to the bookies.
Canadians sweep the day. Kelly Humphreys. Now this new rising star, Justin Crips. Don't forget, he got a silver medal last year in the World Championships in Königssee, the track where he also, his last win in Germany was in Königssee 2 years ago at the World Cup. The start, when you have the best start, you have the chance for the best time at the bottom. Crips with the best starts in the competition, including breaking the 14-year-old start record, and him and Alex Kopak. Wow. I think the odds for him winning in Korea have just been reduced.
Yeah, get down to the bookies now before they wake up to the potential this man has got. Francesco Friedrich, silver. Nico Walter, bronze. So the Saxon drivers both on the podium, but it's Justin Crips and Alex Kopax for Canada as Crips takes his first win of the season. He has yet to finish outside the top 4 in 6 starts, and he's only been twice off the podium. Well, there are the rest of the runners and riders. But the story of the day definitely is Justin Crips of Canada, his first 2-man win of the season.
Can it get any more exciting?
Yep, because we have 4-man tomorrow. And if you think the 2-man are hard to thread through the eye of some of the needles here, then the 4-man is rock and roll. Well, Alex Kopax came out of the off-season as the #1 brakeman in Canada in their push house.
Trains in Germany.
Yeah.
Trains up in the north.
Spends a lot of time here. And of course, Justin Crips, former brakeman as well, so he's hardly hanging around on the front handles either. It's a superbly competitive duo. Chris Spring still second in the World Cup standings, is he, I wonder? He was 100 points ahead of Francesco Friedrich, so even though he finishes in 13th place, the Canadians may still be 1-2 in the points. And Nick Polignato, guaranteeing that they are the first nation who will have earned 3 spots.
How many winners
for
do
the
we
game.
have this year?
6 races, 6 winners.
Really?
Cody Basque and Nico Walter in Lake Placid. Chris Spring beat Crips by, 200s in Whistler. 4th race, Clemens Brasher out of nowhere, won and then disappeared into nowhere. 5th race in Eagles, won by Francesco Friedrich. So Crips is the 6th different winner in 2-man this season. Well, listen, we said when we were in North America, this had better calm down or we're not going to survive till we get to the games. It's not showing any signs yet of calming down at all.
6 different winners in the 2-man competition. The sport is so level. Yeah. And for the Canadians to beat the Germans in Germany.
And look at Alex Kopax. The smile on his face is just ridiculous. A 14-year-old start record is now tucked in his pocket. His name is above the door here in Altenberg. Francesco Friedrich's fans and Nico Walter's fans have seen their men finish on the podium, but it is still Canada 1-2 in the World Cup rankings. Chris Spring finished in 12th, 13th, but still lies second to first-time winner Justin Crips. Crips and Spring with a win apiece. Friedrich's won, Walter has won, Cody Basque's won, and Clemens Brasher of Switzerland has also won in 2-man this year. 6 races, 6 different winners, and we go to St. Moritz in Switzerland next week. No guarantee that somebody else won't come out on the top of the pile. But it was a valedictory performance from Justin Crips. He led by a slender margin, 600 of a second in the first heat. He and Alex Kopax needed everything at their disposal, and beating a 14-year-old start record was the beginning of his run to his first gold medal of the season. After 3 silvers and 2 4th-place finishes in the opening 5 races, Justin Crips finally clambers to the top of the greasy pole. Kopax and Crips with the start record, one of the oldest in the statute books to go with it. When you beat Andre Lange and Kevin Kuska's record from 2003, you know it was a big one. Well, for the fans of Francesco Friedrich from Pirna and Nico Walter from Freital, just to the south of Dresden, both on the podium. Friedrich there on the left, Walter on the right, and President of the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, Ivo Ferriani, hands out the flowers. Crips in the beanie, Kopax with the neckerchief, I guess we're saying. Francesco Friedrich with the blue hat, Martin Grotkopp with a much tailored beard for 2018, and the black hat. And 3rd place medals go to Nico Walter and Christian Poser. So his wife, Jamie Grubel-Poser, took silver in the women's race, Christian bronze in the men's encounter. And that finishes another fantastic day of action from Altenberg. The blue ribboned event, the 4-man bobsleigh, comes up on Sunday lunchtime. The sleds are on ice at 13:45 local, 12:45 GMT. Join John Morgan, the IBSF TV crew, and me, Martin Haven, for all the action. We'll see you then. Until then, auf Wiedersehen and goodbye from Altenberg.
Warte, ich spreche jetzt mal ein bisschen leiser zu euch und ich hoffe, dass es Justin nicht hört. Seid ihr bereit für ein schönes Happy Birthday gleich? Okay, alle bereit? Alles klar. Ja, dann macht doch mal die Kamera an. Alle Fotografen happy? Dann gehe ich jetzt mal gleich ins Bild. Ihr habt alles, was ihr braucht? You're happy?